Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Like, share, and subscribe. This podcast is sponsored by the following. Remington, made with pride in the USA. Iconic American impact. Wenig custom gun stocks. Head on down for your custom fitting. Remember, winners shoot Wenig. Shot Tracker, like having a coach on your barrel. For more info, go to takeaimtech.com. Life is too short to miss. RM Shooting Clinics, helping shooters from coast to coast. Have Ricky take your game to the next level. Zach Nanini at Northwestern Mutual. Trusted advice from someone you know. We believe in putting people first. Other supporters for Trap Talk. The Nevada State Trapshooting Association. Don't miss their 75th annual state shoot this October in Las Vegas. The NSTA puts on some great shoots, and they're going big for this year's state. Go to nvtrap.com to check out their program and all other shoots as well. Welcome to another episode of Trap Talk. Today I have my co-host Richard Marshall Jr. and we have our guest Jack Knaus. Welcome to the show, Jack.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Ricky, could you do us the honors again in introducing our young shooter, Jack?
Yeah, I get it. I'll let, Zach be the host tonight, since the last episode I was the co-host, or I was the host. He was the co-host. We were doing him. So we got Jack Knaus from Kimball, Minnesota. Jack is a 5-time All-American. He's 1-time sub-junior, 3 times junior, and 1-time junior gold. But he's also the second person in the history of the ATA, the youngest, I should say, second youngest in the ATA to win the HOA at the Grand American. So Jack travels all around. He's currently working, took a semester off from school, like all college kids end up doing, and but he's going back to school. He's back up home now in Minnesota. So welcome to the show, Jack.
Thanks.
So Jack, I got to know, I know you're second youngest to win the overall. You got that trophy? I want to see it.
Just because you made me bring it by. And it's something you don't have.
So that's what a world championship looks like. High overall. And what's it say on top? It says your name?
Yeah, and the score.
So 986 out of 1,000. That's pretty impressive shooting. 98.6 average on 1,000 birds.
Did you get something else? Was that one of those?
I did, but I don't have it on right now.
That's okay. Don't make me feel too bad. I don't have one of those yet. So
we're trying to get Zach one.
I'm working on it. It's gonna take a lot of work. I'm trying though.
No, it's just the handicap.
That's what's holding me back, but I'm gonna work on that. So Jack, to speak on that before we get a little bit of your story, 986 is a hell of a score. What was that like just going through that week?
It's a whole different feeling that really hard to put into words, actually, because my week did not start out the greatest, and I kind of had to fight back into it a little bit towards the end. And once you actually figure out that you are in the lead, it's a whole different feeling, I guess. It's easy to say that you don't want to lose it, but Ricky knows, you just, I don't know, you try everything you can at every point.
Were you going into the last day ahead or behind?
I was ahead by 3 going into the last day. So.
And I believe you broke a 97 in the last handicap. Is that correct or no?
That is incorrect. I broke a 94.
Okay. 94. So
I remember watching him.
So after that 94, what kind of nerves did you feel? Are you like, oh crap, I just lost it? Or was it right on the last house and you started missing? Or what was that like?
Well, I missed the second target out. I remember that one. And I broke 49 out of the back 50 to maintain the 94. And I don't think I had ever been so nervous. I'm pretty sure I didn't even look up from my phone for the next 3 hours trying to figure out if I had won or not. And I won by 1. So, it was close, but I knew missing 6, it was going to be close after being ahead by only 3, So.
Do you remember who was number 2?
Yeah, Keith ditto.
Keith. Okay. So So it was you and Keith right into that last day, and he obviously climbed some birds, but just didn't climb enough birds.
Yeah, he broke a 96 in that one. So
We'll definitely go into that a little bit more because I want to talk about your mindset going through that week and the duration, because I think being able to shoot 1,000 targets with that high of an average requires a little bit of mental fortitude, and I normally wouldn't give you credit for that, but in that scenario, you did pretty good. So,
that's pretty rough on a young kid from Minnesota. He's got feelings.
an innocent kid. I mean,
Exactly. I agree. No, and here,
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I remember that event or that whole week, because didn't you break a couple 99s in the handicap?
Yeah, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, I went back-to-back 99.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, he's got a little go-to there. Because I
Yeah.
know on the last handicap back then, I broke 98. I was like, all right, because I think I think you beat me by 4. I had like a 982, and I struggled early on, in it. And I was like, yeah, I could have done this or that. But yeah, I remember just watching that last deal, because weren't you shooting with Glow?
Yeah, him and I shoot together at the Grand.
Yeah, and he was like, oh man, he missed the second target out and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, yeah, it happens, because that was the year that I broke a 195 in the singles championship. You remember, Zach?
I do
told you
remember
I'd break
that.
100 the next day.
And then
in the
you broke
doubles.
100 in the doubles championship. I remember. We knew
So-
when Ricky Marshall had 195 in the singles, we knew the next day was going to be rough on everyone else.
But going back to that, and I know we can go into it further later, but you had the lead, and I've been there, and I've lost the lead, and I've won it. It's all the shoots, but that feeling when you started, where you're like, okay, I can't miss. Is that what was in your head a little bit? Tell the truth.
I mean, yeah, especially because I started on Monday with a 197, and then to like battle all the way back, and then you get to the last day, and you're like, oh, and also in my head, I'm like, okay, if you break a 97, it's going to be hard to lose, and that's the wrong mentality to walk up there with. It really is. And same with the can't miss. It's like you step up and you're like, okay, I can't miss. And that's, looking back now, I know how wrong that is to think that, but at the time, that's all that's in your head.
Oh, well, and
savior,
that's the thing.
savior,
Yeah, and going to that for our listeners is everybody, because, winning a ring is not an easy feat. I've been doing this 35 years, and I've been fortunate to win 4, and I've been runner-up 35 times or whatever. But it's one of those things that people think, oh, they shoot good all the time, or they do this right or that. Yeah, we might shoot good, but still the mental aspect of it, when you're in the lead like that and seeing that, it's a different feeling. And especially for a young kid like yourself, where what have you shot total registered targets, like under 60,000, I think I saw? I think it's
70,000, 60,000.
Yeah. You were just right at 60,000, I think. So to have that experience, but you shot good all week, and
you never had a bad event. And I mean, the 197 in the singles, that might have been, you say, your worst event, but when you throw a 99 up in the handicap twice, that's going to make up a lot of room on that. Because the one thing I remember Leo telling me, and I asked him, how do you win overalls at the Grand, Leo, consistently all the time? And he said, he says, I try to average 99.5 in the singles. So 199 and a 199. I'm trying to average 99 in the doubles, 99, 99, and then better than a 96 average in the handicaps. And if you do that and you pencil it out, that's a 980. 4 handicaps at 4 birds, and then two singles and 2 doubles. That's 980 on the nut. That's going to get you in the running, I think. And then depending on the year or the weather, I mean, Rick had better than that year, 982, 983, but Jack had 986, right? 986.
Yep.
That's, where you're at. Now, I remember a year when Harlan won it, I think it was like 969 or 971. I mean, it was an off year, but, so that was kind of, it was one of the earlier years that they had the Grand in Sparta, but that usually more than not, it's that higher 980 range that I've seen.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Jack, to kind of take a step back, thanks for sharing that with us. I'm sure we'll touch on it a little bit more, but how did you get into shooting, and what makes you so passionate about it? Why do you keep coming back?
I started shooting when I was 6 years old. And I think my dad just wanted me to simply start shooting for hunting, I think it was. And I started shooting with like a 20 gauge Mossberg pump at 6. And when I was 10, and I just shot at my local club in Kimball. And then when I was 10 years old, person at the club said you should go and sign him up for the ATA. And there was the Minnesota State shoot that week, and they have like a youth day or whatever on Monday where they throw 200 singles. And I went up and signed up and shot that. And then on the following Saturday, which would have been the singles championship, I went back and shot the 200 singles again. And pretty much from there, I don't know, I just really fell in love with like the competing aspect of it, and that started traveling. I was around 12, 13, started traveling a little bit, and yeah, that's how it all got started.
So once you got into traveling, how long did it take you to make the All-American team? Because you said you made sub-junior team. Was that your first year traveling, or was it your second year traveling, or do you remember?
Oh, man, my first year I made it was 2017, I think it was. I think it was 2017. And then like a year or two after that, I didn't shoot enough targets, I don't think, to make it. But I think it was 2017 is when
Your sub-junior first time.
Yeah. I also had to like travel basketball in there, so I had to like weigh it out a little bit on what I was going to do. So I didn't always shoot enough targets to make the team as the sub junior. But I know 2017 was the first year.
Yeah, and I know that can be difficult for some people if they're really talented and they get the points, but sometimes they're not always getting the targets in or the shoots in, the years in. I think I missed the junior gold team one time. I had the points to get on there, but I didn't go to anywhere but the state shoot in the Grand. And so you can't really make the team if you don't have the requirements. I think is it 3 states and target requirements, Ricky?
It's 3 states, and that includes your own state or
you have to shoot your own, and then you have to shoot 1 Grand of any sort.
One type of something.
No, you don't have to shoot. You can just shoot 3 states.
Just 3
really?
states.
You don't have to
3
shoot
states. 3. I think it's 3 states and then targets a minimum.
Yeah, targets.
I think
So you can miss the Grand. You can. I mean, to make the team. So and looking. I looked up I couldn't remember. I was pretty sure I knew it. 2020 COVID year. You came down and shot Nebraska. Shot really good there. You beat up on a girl in the shoot off.
Oh,
I can't believe you did that to Stacy Reed, our good friend Stacy, which we need to get Stacy on the show. Her and Dennis. We'll probably do it separate because I don't want Dennis having hard feelings that his sister's a little better handicapped. But no, I'm just But yeah, no. In 2020 though, you went on a little bit of a tear and you shot good in Nebraska and you shot good down in Missouri, and then the Grand, I think you ran like the first 400 or 500, if I remember looking at it correctly.
Yeah, I won the prelim week super. See, then it was super 400. We didn't have the whole 500 that year. So I won the super 400 singles at the Grand.
So you've broken a lot of good scores, and especially at a young age, and we've shot together a little bit. And what really drives you? What's the best thing about trap shooting? Is it people? Is it, your girlfriend? Oh, what is it?
Probably the people of it. I don't really believe in going to a shoot just for the targets. I go to a shoot, I think, more to have fun with my friends and see people than I do the actual shoot itself. You know, um, yeah, obviously shooting and winning is fun, and and you feel good after a good win. But it's definitely the people, for sure.
So now you're going back to school in Fargo, right?
Hopefully, yeah, that's where I plan to.
I mean, are you going to shoot in Fargo or no?
No. North Dakota State doesn't have a shooting team.
So what are you majoring in?
Agriculture economics.
We got ag at Dome. Just saying.
Yeah, do you? Yeah.
You can transfer. I give good scholarships for transfers.
Yeah. Hey.
And guess what? It's only about 7 hours to Oklahoma, or 6 hours.
Yeah, probably about 6 hours.
It's an opportunity for you,
hey,
Jack.
Yeah, I'm looking out. I'm looking out economically for you on mileage and money going to Oklahoma.
Diesel is expensive, I must say.
Well, right out kind of Waco exit Nebraska was $3.19 the other day.
Oh, that's a lot cheaper here. It's like $3.99.
That's what it is everywhere else. So
Jack, I know we're kind of messing with you a little bit, and mainly because we know you're pretty good. We've shot with you. I shoot with you a bunch now, and we've got our ongoing $10 event at every shoot that we go to. For the people
which
that
I'm
don't
far
know,
ahead of.
Me and Jack bet $10 an event, high score. Just me and him. Ricky, no, you can't get it on this bet. You're out. No, Ricky Marshall.
Now listen.
But
I'm gonna have to.
I started shooting with Jack probably in 2020. I think that's when we started shooting together first. And that year that you did have a good year at Missouri State Shoot, I remember. I think the first time we really met, we both tied in the overall. You won the out of state, I won the in state, and that was kind of where we really met each other. And I'm like, who's this Jack Knaus? He shoots really good from Nebraska. And I called Zach Bryan. He's like, oh yeah, he's real good.
From where?
Yeah, he's from Minnesota.
Whatever, Minnesota. But Zach knew. Zach knew him, and that's kind of where I learned his name. But that being said, Jack, you've had a lot of success, I would say. What are you working on? Were you practicing a lot when you started? Were you not practicing? Was it more natural to you, or did you have to build a style that works for you? What's that side of the game look like for you?
Practicing for me, it's hard in Minnesota to practice a lot. And that being said, it's so cold during the winter that a lot of the trap ranges aren't open, and it's hard to go and practice. So typically, I'd practice before my first shoot of the year a little bit, and then you kind of have to hit the ground running, especially after I turned 16 and could drive myself to all the shoots. That's when I started shooting a lot more. There wasn't a ton of time for practice in there, because we still have snow in May. So sometimes it's really tough to get out and practice.
So you're going right into the shoots a lot of times. You're just, hey,
pretty
it's
much
cold season. I'm going to the shoots and I'm getting after it. So when you get to the shoot, are you practicing a lot or getting a lot of rounds down range right at the beginning of the shoot? Or are you just jumping in and saying, we'll see what happens?
I'll typically practice handicap and doubles before the shoot. If I get there a day early, I will typically practice handicap and doubles, not singles so much. Not that that's not a good thing to not practice singles, but I typically leave it out a little bit more than I probably should. But
well, you're shooting them pretty decently, I would say. Last year was your first year 99 average, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So no problem with that. I guess
24 to be exact, but
that's pretty tall on the order list. So, with that, you're going right in the shoots, you're making it happen. Is there anyone that taught you how to shoot, or were you self-taught, or where does that come from? Do you have any mentors in your state?
Yeah, I had a couple mentors. One by the name of Denny Steinhaus. He's a local guy around here. He taught me a lot. And after that, pretty much Pat Lamont taught me a lot about how to compete and like the mental side of things. Because I mean, his mental game is, up here,
Yeah.
And so he taught me a lot because I started shooting with him at a very young age at the Minnesota State shoot. So he taught me a lot about how to compete. And
We need to go to Minnesota, Zach.
I mean, I'd love
hey,
to. I've been
it's a
there,
great
but it's
shoot.
been a long time.
You've been up there?
I went up there like in 2006 or 7. But yeah, maybe it was 8, but it was a long, long time ago. But I'd love to go and check it out. They got good cheese, eh?
That's Wisconsin.
That's
But
Wisconsin.
good try.
Idiot.
Good
That's
try.
okay.
They don't talk the same up there. I'm telling you, I've heard them. But so we just glanced over that. But you said, Pat taught you a lot about the mental game. What maybe is one specific thing that he shared with you that you think really helps?
You might have to edit this because this might take me a second here.
That's okay. You can gather your thoughts.
I don't know. I guess he taught me a lot about just composure while you are shooting and like how to like handle yourself in a proper way. Like don't ever get too worked up. Like when you see him miss, he never gets worked up about nothing.
Yep.
And I think going into that where, when you do miss it, if you can just forget about it right away, like, like someone like him does, Ricky, you guys all do that where it's just like, it's a miss. You can't do nothing about it, and I think that was one of the biggest things is where you don't, you don't throw a shell, you don't freak out and get mad over it because all it does is lead to more misses. Like Nanini,
That's like
the only place I've ever
hey,
the only
he'll
place
send that
I've
shell
ever,
back to the side
it's like
yeah.
I gotta say something. The only place I've
This
ever
poor
thrown one of those
receiver,
beautiful
that locking block on that K80 is so loose.
oh man. I'm gonna
Like I
have to
said,
start
the only
sticking him on
place-
post. Hey, I'm gonna start sticking him on post 4 so I don't hear that. I looked over at him one time and I go, "Are you done?" And he's like, "What?"
the only place I've ever thrown a shell is when I threw it in my whole pouch down below my box. It goes right in there, and it's a beautiful gold Nitro at 27. So that's all we got. Now,
I don't know.
going back to the poise, Jack, I mean, I've seen you shoot and I've seen you miss, and you look pretty smooth. I mean, you're not jarred. And I think that's a huge takeaway for the listeners because I've watched Ricky, I've watched you, I've watched other greats, and when one of the greats is shooting, you're not going to be able to really tell if they've missed or they hit the target if you're watching from the side. And I think that's a good indicator of what's going well. And I could say that I watched you shoot some of those events at the Grand that year, and I did see you miss, and you didn't change your body posture. You didn't drop your shoulders and like, oh, that sucks, right? You just kind of loaded the gun and kept moving. And that kept you from having those back-to-back misses in a round, I think, and kept you in it. But that smooth poise that you talked about, I think, is very valuable. That being said, Jack, what type of style do you shoot? Are you on the house like me and Ricky, or are you holding high? What's your technique that you physically use?
Well, for singles, I hold roughly about probably 1.5 feet above the house, roughly. And my gun shoots 90-10, so 90% high. And then for doubles, I spot shoot the first target. So I truly couldn't really tell you exactly how high I hold above the house on doubles, but I know it's the same every time. I just can't really think of a solid length.
Yeah, you just put the gun up and that's just your comfort zone.
Yeah. But I mean, I spot shoot the first target, so I'm not really making a move to it. It's all kind of, I see the target like come under my barrel, and then it's just timing from there. And then handicap, I hold probably like about 1 foot above the house.
So above the house at some level, are you making a move to the target as it's coming out, or are you letting that target break the plane of your gun and then attacking?
I'm letting the target break the point of my gun in singles. In singles, I shoot a little slower singles. Unless I get into, a groove on my own, I can pick them up a little faster. But in handicap, I'm more of a snap shooting handicap. That's just how I've had to teach myself to shoot at the best. I can't ride out a handicap target. It's got to be, a little quicker, and a little bit more of a harder press to the target right away as I see it coming out.
So you're going at it as hard and as fast as you can right out of the house. You see it and you're attacking it. Singles, you're letting
in
it
handicap,
clear. Singles, you're letting it clear. You're smooth and breaking it out a little bit farther, and then handicap, you're coming out with movement as it's coming out of the house, and you're getting to that front edge and shooting very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I'm not moving before the target comes out of the house, but it's as soon as I see the target, I'm attacking the target, and sometimes that can get you into a little trouble. If you move too hard on the target in windier conditions or something. But that's just the way I've had to teach myself to shoot handicap from the 27. It takes a lot of trigger control, I think, to be able to switch from, shooting singles a little slower and then going to handicap and, really attacking targets hard. But that's just, that's just my own design, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's working, obviously. To go back to the double spot shooting, you said you spot shoot, and I've watched you shoot, and you shoot them pretty fast. I shoot them fast. You might shoot them a little faster than I do. But that being said, I've seen you shoot on pairs where the machines are oscillating and the things are moving in the wind. And you say you spot shoot, but I've seen a target come offline 2-3 feet and you still break it. So where you're looking and holding, you're not shooting it on timing, correct? Like you're still making a move from that spot, or what does that look like?
Well, to me, I guess you can say it's probably not 100% spot shoot, but it's, I am holding rather high above the house. And, as I call pull, I'm looking below my barrel. My eyes aren't stationed above my beads. They're more neutral on my barrel and they're looking a little below. And then as I see the target come out, if it's not right on line where it should be, I can make the appropriate move, and slow down my trigger finger a little bit and try to get to it in time. And then it's, as soon as I know that it's crossed the plane of my gun, then I can pull the trigger.
If it's there, you're brewing it up and spot shooting it. If it's not there, you're making that left to right move based on what you see.
Yeah.
And if you do miss, are you more prone to missing a first bird or more prone to missing a second bird when you're missing in doubles?
Oh, a second bird.
Second. So you're brewing first ones up, and then every once in a while you're missing a second. And as soon as you shoot, are you trying to get your eyes over on that second bird, or what's happening once you break the first target?
As soon as I break the first target, my eyes are on the move and my gun's following. I don't even try to get close to spot shooting a second target. I'll definitely try to ride it out and make sure I get on it for, first. And like my over under barrels, they both shoot 100% high. So, I mean, you really got to make sure you're on your first target and on your second target when you shoot a higher gun in doubles, especially when you spot shoot your first target,
Yeah.
And it took a lot of training actually on the first target to be able to spot shoot it and not, pull the trigger too fast sometimes, and especially like when you've got to move, if the target doesn't come out online, you got to move it. Takes a lot of training and a lot of trigger control.
Are you shooting a pretty open choke on that first shot?
15,000. So I think that's like a light mod.
Yeah. Well, it's a light mod.
Roughly.
What's your second shot?
A light full.
So
30,000. Yeah, 30.
Now, what gun are you currently shooting?
I shoot a Kohler Max trap, low profile. So it's an on-single.
Then what ammo are you shooting with that?
Winchester AA.
So you shooting super handicaps in and handicap or what?
Yep. Yeah, I shoot a 1250 7.5 from the 27-yard line. And then from the 16-yard line, I shoot 8-shot, just 1145.
Just light.
Doubles, are you light
Yeah.
both shots?
Yep.
Yep. That's what we're running to. I mean, I run that. Ricky, you run that banger on that second shot, right? Do you shoot the 3 dram or do you shoot the 1250?
1250s, baby, all
You
day.
go big.
Go big or go home.
Hey, I mean, you can definitely take the recoil. That's
What are you saying? What is that? Was that a joke?
It's because you're perfect form, Ricky.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
Zach,
Okay.
you better calm down on them jokes. We can just turn
When
it
you
around.
shoot a
pretty
Krieghoff,
quick.
you can shoot those 1250s.
That's true. I do shoot the Krieghoff, and maybe that's what it takes to get up to the next level. I'll put the 1250s in soon, Ricky, and try that out. Well, Rick, is there any other questions that you want to ask Jack? Is there anything that we're missing?
Just when you gonna move to Nebraska? I got a scholarship for you. Oh no.
Oh,
Getting closer to Shay. No, I
I've never
think we're
gotten
good.
I've never gotten an official offer.
What do you need me to do?
We'll
Send you
work on that after the phone call today.
Okay. Okay.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share about your Grand Week, Jack, or anything else you'd like to share to shooters in general? Any message at all?
The most important thing is definitely just to have fun with it. You know, that's
Where
what
you
it's
heard that?
for. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that a million times, but it is the truth. You know, it's not something that, it's worth getting angry or mad at. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you're not having fun and you're getting angry at it, the scores do go south. And I think going through that week and winning that overall had to teach you a lot about composure and holding it together, and especially starting off with that 197 and finishing with the scores the way you did, and then having the uncertainty of that 94 in the last handicap and just sitting there and praying, because I've been there at the state shoot level and the satellite ground level, and you're just finished and you're like, man, I hope I won the thing, right? And
Yeah.
we've all been there where we've counted and known what we have to do, and sometimes that's the worst thing you can do, right? It's just getting out of your way and just shooting one target at a time, having fun and enjoying it, the same way that you got through those other 900 birds. So
Now, real quick, I got a question for you, Jack. What's your schedule like for the rest of this year? Where are you gonna go?
I hope to go to Missouri, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then I'd like to go to Vernal, and then Minnesota and the Grand. So not a ton of targets this year. But it'll just depend with my work schedule and how's that, and how that is looking. And hopefully some weekend things in there. I'd like to be able to hit some weekend shoots. And if an opportunity to go to another state shoot comes up, I'd like to take, I'll obviously take it. So just hopefully enough to get my targets in for the team.
Yeah. Well, I hope to see you in Vernal. That'll be my next shoot. I know Zach's going to Missouri, and since they moved over Memorial Weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Wait, who voted on that? Oh,
yeah.
We're not, maybe not I, but we'll see, and we're gonna see how it goes, and we're gonna have fun with it and go from there. But last question, Jack, is there? Well, I guess, is there anybody that you'd like to thank before we get out of here? Any family, friends, sponsors, things like that?
Well, I'd like to thank Kohler Shotguns, Elite Shotguns, and both of my parents for sure.
Awesome. Well, we'd like to thank our show sponsors, Remington, Wenig, Shot Tracker, Richard Marshall Jr. Shooting Clinics. If you're not using them, you better be. And the one and only Zach Nannini here, your finance guy. If you need me, love to help you out. It's been a real fun conversation, Jack, and we're excited to see the future of your shooting career, because you are definitely a young and up and coming guy that knows how to shoot. And if you keep with it, we're going to be seeing you in a lot of winner's circles. So we appreciate your time and appreciate your expertise.
Thank you guys too.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jack.
Have a good night.